What a surprise. I mean, who could have saw this coming? The mainstream media, they try to convince us that we are divided on race. They try to convince us that black and white see everything differently. Well, I know one thing more and more of us are starting to see the same way. Black Lives Matter, the organization, not the slogan. I'm talking about the organization, the supposed nonprofit. The organization started to make two man hating lesbians rich. It seems like we are all coming to the agreement that Black Lives Matter is bullshit. Headline over at Newsweek: Support for Black Lives Matter plummets among African Americans. Well, I'll be damned. Who would have thought an organization that wants to defund the police and minority communities would be unpopular? Listen, my brother in woke, you are not allowed to have guns. You're not allowed to protect yourself. By the way, we are also going to take cops out of your neighborhood. If your wife is being attacked, call Black Lives Matter and we'll organize a protest for you. But there's one caveat. Your wife, she must be attacked by a white man. If she's attacked by another black man, you are meaningless to us. Your life doesn't matter. Well, wait a minute. I thought all black lives matter. You thought wrong, motherfucker. It only matters if you fit our narrative. Support for Black Lives Matter has dropped to a record low 31%. The only thing less popular than BLM is Kamala Harris. They conducted a poll recently. 1,000 people participated in the poll. They found that nude photos of Rachel Levine were more popular than Kamala Harris. Woof! One of the leaders in the promoting of Black Lives Matter, the organization, has been ESPN. Back in 2018, ESPN president Jimmy Pitaro, he implemented what was supposed to be a no politics policy. Woke politics at the time was killing the network. On-air personalities like Jemele Hill, they were scaring viewers with their face and constantly accusing every white person in America of being a white supremacist. ESPN ended up firing Jemele Hill, who ended up finding a career as a professional race baiter and as a professor at Woke U. For about 18 months, Jimmy Pitaro and most at ESPN, they stuck to the no politics policy. It actually angered a lot of the on-air personalities at ESPN. Matter of fact, Dan Le Batard, who I'll be talking about more here in just a second, Dan Le Batard was one of the many woke warriors pissed off about the no politics policy. Check this out from yourself for 2019.
If you're not calling it abhorrent, obviously racist, dangerous rhetoric, you're complicit.
Omar has a history of launching vicious anti-Semitic screeds.
This is deeply offensive to me as somebody whose parents made all the sacrifices to get to this country. Send her back. How are you any more American than her? You're more privileged? You're whiter?
Yes, Dan, we are complicit. Ilhan Omar, she is constantly bitching about mythical oppression here in America. Instead of feeling blessed that this country granted her family asylum in 1995 so she could escape the civil war in Somalia, she wants to denigrate us instead. The crowd at that Trump rally, they were simply offering her a solution to her problem. Since she supposedly faces oppression here in America, there's a simple solution. She can take her ass back to Somalia. Now, us normal people, we have the ability to separate politics from everything else. When we watch the NBA, for example, we're not counting the colors of the people on the court and comparing it to the color of the people in the stands. Us normal people, we watch sports to be entertained. We watch to temporarily escape day-to-day life. The social justice warriors at ESPN, they watch sports looking for something to offend them. Oh, I'm so triggered. That white referee called a foul on that innocent black man. That is racist. It seems the last few years, ESPN made it their focus to quit hiring qualified candidates, qualified analysts, and instead searched Twitter for the most useless people they could find. People like Mina Kimes. You know how Mina Kimes got hired at ESPN? She wrote an essay on Tumblr back in 2014 talking about how the Seattle Seahawks created a bond between her and her dad. Now, while that is a heartwarming story, and it's extremely important for a child to share a bond with their father, it doesn't qualify you to be an NFL analyst. The qualifications have changed at ESPN. You no longer need to be an expert. You no longer need to have talent. The only qualification, do you have the ability to be a woke dumbass? Why, yes, I do. Great, you're hired. I was looking for a topic this afternoon, and I came across an interesting story on Mediaite. Stephen A. Smith was a guest on Dan Le Batard, and they were talking about the woke fungus that has infected ESPN. And while I'm thinking about it, I need to correct myself on something. I have always thought, and I've said it several times here on the channel, but I've always thought that once you were infected with the woke fungus, there was no cure. It turns out I was actually wrong. A young black woman, she started following me on Twitter yesterday, and she describes herself as a former social justice warrior. I spent some time looking into her. It seems that this woman was able to eradicate the woke fungus sometime between 2020 and 2021. Good for her. In this case, I'm actually glad I'm wrong. I have updated my prognosis. If you're infected with the woke fungus, you no longer don't have any chance for survival. Now you have a 1% chance of survival. Anyway, Stephen A., Dan Le Batard, they were talking about the woke fungus infecting ESPN. Now, I know we shit on Stephen A. Smith often here on the channel, but he's one of the social justice warriors who I feel is a product of his environment. Stephen A. has not always been woke. Matter of fact, he used to be accused of being an Uncle Tom. But over the years, being constantly exposed to the fungus in the halls of ESPN, Stephen A. Smith has become down with the sickness. Listen to what he said about the no politics policy at ESPN, and more importantly, about how it should be enforced. Roll the film.
ESPN took the position a few years ago, we're not going to talk about politics. You had some people that had a problem with that. Here was my issue. I understand. Now, there are times that there are certain issues that usurp what your mandate may be. And more importantly, there's a level of consistency that you need to exercise. You can't let one person get away with it and don't let the other person get away with it. The rules have to be for everybody if it is truly a rule.
The rules have to be for everybody if it's truly a rule. We all know that's bullshit. The no politics policy at ESPN, it only applies if you consistently refuse the woke hug initiation. Back in 2016, when politics were being openly discussed on the network and ESPN was giving Caitlyn Jenner the Courage Award, Curt Schilling was fired. He wasn't fired for anything he said on air at ESPN. He was fired because he went on Facebook and said transgender men shouldn't be using the women's restroom. That bastard, he is transphobic. Every trans man should be able to exercise his right to share a public bathroom with your 8-year-old daughter. Last year, Sage Steele, she was pulled off the air for innocent remarks that she made about Barack Obama. And I say innocent because when you compare what Sage Steele said about Barack Obama, which was in reference to him being mixed race, when you compare that to the shit Bomani Jones always says about the entire white race, Sage Steele's comments were innocent. You see, it is perfectly acceptable at ESPN for Bomani Jones to bloviate his disdain towards white people. But when Sage Steele mentions the fact that Barack Obama is half white, that is cause for suspension. It's the reason she's suing the network. Stephen A. Smith, Dan Le Batard, they continued. This is one of those missed opportunities, I feel, where the follow-up question to Stephen A. talking about the rule applying to everyone should have been, everything that I just laid out to you. Those were only 2 examples. I could sit here for 30 minutes and list example after example of ESPN allowing a woke dumbass to push propaganda while punishing anyone with a functional brain. Several weeks ago, Bobby Burak over at Outkick, he outlined 8 examples himself. Instead of Dan Le Batard following up with something like that, he asked Stephen A. where the line should be drawn. Stephen A. Smith was making the point that certain political issues should usurp the no politics policy. And by certain political issues, he meant anything that would give the virgins on Twitter a boner. Dan Le Batard, he asked him, where should the line be drawn? Who decides what political issues are important enough to mention on a network supposedly centered on sports and which are not? Check out the exchange for yourself.
But then there are other issues like the George Floyd murder that took place in Minnesota. When that kind of stuff happens,
but where's the line? But where's the line? This is what I'm saying, though, Stephen A. Where is the line on some of this stuff? Because you can't have a corporate policy that adheres to everyone that keeps sports clean on this stuff. We got Saudi money running over here. We've got China money running over there. Like there are all sorts of things embedded here that make it impossible for us to always be linear in our principles.
But the lines are unquestionably blurry, and you're totally right about that. But I think it's important to understand, Dan, that again, it might be blurry for me and you, but as a business, it may not be blurry for them. In other words, the line for them is what's going to compromise our bottom line. If something is going to compromise our bottom line, we have a right to take the position that we take as a company.
They just made the point, without intending to make it, but they just made the point as to why ESPN should stay out of politics. Dan Le Batard insinuated that it is impossible for sports to remain outside the political arena. But it seemed to work just fine the first 35 years of my life. Keith Olbermann, the most evil fuck in America, he worked at ESPN throughout the 90s. He was actually beloved at the time. He hosted SportsCenter for years, never mentioned politics. Mike Wilbon, he's been on PTI for decades now. It wasn't until he graduated with honors from Woke U in 2020 that he transformed into a professional race baiter. It is not impossible for ESPN to remain neutral. They proved for decades that they could do it. Stephen A. Smith said it himself. The lines are blurry. If you're a sports network and you're going to be political, you're not going to risk alienating your audience. You will be guaranteed to alienate your audience. But there was something else Stephen A. Smith said that I completely disagree with. He claims that this is a financial decision at ESPN to allow certain political issues to be discussed and to not allow others. That is 100% bullshit. If that were true, ESPN would completely ban woke politics. It has been proven countless times. Everything wokeism, everything social justice touches, it destroys. The NBA, they are experiencing a resurgence right now. Why? They got out of social justice. Do I need to list all the woke failures again? Bomani Jones, huge embarrassing failure. Jamel Hill, a close second. Rex Chapman, kicked out of Woke United Methodist for being a consistent loser. CNN Plus, destroyed after 3 weeks. Deadspin, literally dead. Karen Phillips might have put the final nail in the coffin with the bullshit he published earlier this week. Ratings for both CNN, MSNBC, disaster. It turns out the majority of white people don't like other white people calling them white supremacists. Stephen A. Smith, he unintentionally pointed out the hypocrisy at ESPN. We all knew it was true. Hell, it doesn't take Aristotle to figure out ESPN doesn't just lean to the left. They are laying on their ass to the left. This is not a financial decision at ESPN to only allow woke politics. This is an agenda decision. If it was a financial decision, they wouldn't allow it, like I said. This is Disney allowing ESPN to be used to further a twisted agenda. These people are trying to transform this country. You think everything happening right now is an accident? You think inflation, high gas prices, food shortages, baby formula shortages, a wide open border, poisoning the minds of children with perverse sexual bullshit, you think all this happening at the same time is an accident? This is a coordinated movement to completely transform this country, and ESPN is a part of it. The scheme, this was not created by Joe Biden. They wanted him because he's easy to manipulate. Most brain dead people are. These people will do anything to hold on to their power and control, while the rest of us are meant to suffer in misery. But let me know what you think. Stephen A. unintentionally highlighting the blatant hypocrisy at ESPN. He's allowed to be political. He's allowed to push Kobe hysteria. He's allowed to talk about race. But Sage Steele, she is required to keep her mouth shut and her opinions to herself. Let me know what you think. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.